Hello, everyone. I just learned that some airlines are not greeting with ladies and gentlemen anymore. They just say hello, everyone. So that's why we'll not say hello, ladies. I say just hello, everyone. Great to have you with us. My name is Daniel Stecher, Vice President, Airline Operations, IBS Software, and it's today a very special day because we have our 12th Aviation Women panel. So a year ago, we started this journey with our first Aviation Women panel. And meanwhile, it's fantastic that after 1 year, we have been growing and that you are also now with us in the group. And we have today several topics, but the good news is we are 411 members meanwhile. So we have a small exponential growth. So there's still room for improvement, but I think we have achieved a lot. And I suggest, as we are a small group till now, that we start to make a small introduction with everyone, and then we start to discuss the topics we agreed. And I think, Jana, you have prepared something. Sharina, you were also, I think, checking with Sophie, and then we take it from there. So maybe, Jana, if you would like to start to introduce yourself.
I am Jana Monge. I have a consulting company for airline finance. I'm heading in Zurich, and at the moment I am on vacation in Italy. Therefore, quite a strange background. I throwed out all the children from the living room so that I am alone. I am very much interested in growing my knowledge within my domain and outside my domain. I am interested to meet virtually group members. As I stated before, I'm not so interested in virtual happy hours because I have a good network otherwise. So the pandemic side is a bit gone and not interested for me to just have happy hours discussing on if blue shirts are better than green shirts or something like this. So that's about me.
Thank you. So your motivation to join was that you wanted to join an women's network in order to have a business related networking and going the learning curve across various topics.
Yes, and share my knowledge with others, because I believe that as it came from the Old Boys network, the old boys are meeting in various situations, and by discussing things, they are increasing their knowledge within and outside their domain. We women, I believe, don't do this enough. So I am happy to contribute my knowledge to this group. And on the same time, I'm interested in these clubhouse sessions where, for example, the one of Anne and Helen, where it is about the specific topic, and we have experts in and nerds in, and it is irrelevant of if they are female or male, but it's about the subject. So I see two things, the women part and the knowledge part per se.
Good. So let's go to France.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jana. So let's go from Switzerland to France then. Hélène.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Hélène Millet. I'm a consultant too. I've been in this industry for like more than 25 years now. So yeah, a very specific knowledge and focused knowledge, and also, yeah, all the nice links to everybody in this industry. So what was started with Daniel was very much appreciated from my side at the time of the pandemic, because it was a support in a difficult time. And I also now agree with Jana that it's good to move on and to take the opportunity of being together, of already knowing each other, increase the knowledge and to share whatever we have to share, because we have lots of experience, all of us. We have discussed enough to know that. And so it's very good if we can take the opportunity of those friendly discussions to, to be better, to go improving. And so that's my point too. And I'm wanting to either learn or teach whatever is needed, depending on the topic. And what is very good, and that's something that Jana mentioned also, is that this club was the opportunity to meet virtually, of course, because we had no shows at the time, with other people, and to discover Clubhouse, which was a new social media. And so it was also the opportunity for me to talk on some topics I like. And so I was glad to share and to discuss some topics. So of course those topics can be also discussed in this club. So yeah.
Thank you, Hélène. Let's go from France to Canada. Christine.
Good morning. I heard everything you and Jana were discussing earlier, and I'm very sad to say that I have not practiced my German in so long that ich habe alle gehört, aber zu wenig verstehen. Sad. So good morning, everyone from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. It's a fantastic day. It's the day before our I was going to call it by the silly way, Saint Jean Baptiste, which is to celebrate a saint of some kind. I don't know, but everyone in the province gets the day off. And the day after that, I'm having my first actual vacation day since March of 2020. So I'm purposely taking vacation. For those of you who don't know, I was jobless for exactly a year, so this is kind of a big deal. And 4-day weekend, wow. I'm an IT business analyst in a last mile delivery company, which means we get our packages from the vendor to the customers. And it's a really, really cool industry in that there are so many possibilities to disrupt the industry, to do things differently. And most recently, my company Intelcom opened a subsidiary called Dragonfly in Australia. And apparently in the area that we're in, I can't remember which part of the country, but it's in Brisbane, they didn't have 7-day delivery. So the fact that they are getting their Amazon packages on a Saturday and a Sunday already is blowing their minds. So more to come, because we'll be expanding throughout the elsewhere in the world. And that's it. I've been part of this amazing group since the day after I lost my job. I joined my first VHH, cajoled and encouraged by Daniel, and it's the best thing I ever did, because this group is amazing. I recently listened to Hélène and Anne's most recent Clubhouse. I don't know if it's the most recent, but it was, for me, the most recent conversation, and fascinating, because what you were talking about is not just applicable to aviation, it's applicable to many, many different industries. So I will continue to join these conversations to expand my knowledge. And I wrote, while Jana, you were speaking, we created our own table. We don't need no old boys to invite us anywhere, because we, wherever we are going to share our knowledge with each other and grow and expand our networks and help each other. So thank you.
Thanks, Christine. And just to let you know, Virtual Happy Hour will have an in-person meeting on 17 July. Marco is so kind to host it in his garden. And so some of the Virtual Happy Hour attendees are going to meet, and we will have some barbecue and other cooking style and so on. So who is nearby that location? Because I doubt that, Christine, you are flying over the pond to get to Baden-Baden.
I'm not flying
but everybody
anywhere.
who is in that maybe you want to join us, and because that's also one of my goals, that Ladies Beyond Flying, that we can have a meeting sometime very soon, somewhere in the world.
Will
so
you
then let's
please
go
make
to
sure that you take pictures and share them with us?
Absolutely, we take videos,
Okay.
everything. Yeah,
That's fantastic.
So let's go to Dubai, Sharina.
Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are. I have not joined in person to, I think, this one, the one that is videoed. I've joined one of the Clubhouse sessions where we discuss sustainability. But I have watched the videos, Danielle, a few times, like 2 or 3 times. I've looked at the videos because I used to work for IBS, Daniel's company before, and currently I work for Emirates. So colleagues of mine or ex-colleagues of mine have been attending, and Daniel keeps us all informed as well. So I have been watching some of the back videos whenever it comes along. So I started to join, or I became interested when I saw that specific topics were being discussed, as Jana was saying, and sustainability interests me, and I would really like to join Jana sessions as well on NDC One Order, or any specific sessions where a particular topic is discussed in more detail. Because any knowledge we can gather in this industry would help us definitely, for sure. So what I do is as I said, I'm at Emirates. I'm a technical product owner, which means that I'm in IT, and I look after software products. So we make sure that it works for the business. So currently I'm supporting network planning and schedule planning. But I worked in either at IBS or at Emirates. I worked in reservations. I worked for airline operations. I worked for finance a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. And now, and even digital implementation on our website as well. But now I'm with network and schedule planning. My topic of interest, definitely in one of the topics that are of highlight today, definitely sustainability. I was doing a course, it just finished kind of last month. It is like an extended management program. It was a certificate program. And there we looked at one of the topics that we looked at in a bit of detail was sustainability. And we happened to choose airline sustainability as a topic of interest. So we looked at it in a little bit of depth. So that's why I was hoping that, we can discuss with like-minded colleagues and see, learn from each other, see what are the industry practices, what everybody is doing. And going forward, what I would really like, as Pip was saying, if there are topics of interest, I would like to join to gain more knowledge and to discuss with each other. And I also like that this is informal, that it is an informal network, it's not a formal network. So I like that informality, and that people from around the world and different companies are coming together. So thank you for inviting me, Daniel, again, and pleasure to join.
Thank you, Sharina. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Talking about sustainability, let's go again to France, to our Spock for this topic, Sophie.
Hi, so hello everybody, morning, evening, night, maybe for some. The question is why are we participating? Why am I participating? Is that right? Because sorry, I connected a bit late, so I didn't hear what we were supposed to be talking.
Exactly. What did motivate you? What do you expect? Jana was a bit talking what she doesn't like to attend and so on. That's a little bit the topic at the moment.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in attending meetings on specific topics like sustainability or NDC One Order. Definitely very interested in NDC One Order. The difficulty I have with that is that they need a bit of preparation, and I have to admit I was on vacation last week, walking in the Pyrenees, and no internet access at all. And then I got back, and of course I'm swamped, so I haven't had time to really prepare anything. And Sharina sent some really brilliant slides which we could use, but maybe not this time. Maybe we can have a specific hour on that topic on sustainability. But what I'm interested in is I feel we're a lot of people from a lot of different areas and a lot of different places in the world, different areas in airline activity, and I think we can all learn from each other. I mean, when we talk about sustainability, there's so many different aspects, from catering to fuel to maintenance, and yeah, we all have something to say, and we can all learn from it. So that's what I would be interested in, taking topics and just discussing them. I'm also really interested in connecting with people from all over the place, and the fact that we're all women and we're all struggling in a man's world. That's, well, yeah, one of the motivations as well. So
thank you, Sophie. Thank you. Good. So then, talking about the topics, I think one order NDC was mentioned. Who, if not Anne, is the best person to talk about? Let's go to Sweden, please.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for running a bit late. I'm Anne Cederhall. Same as Hélène and Gianna, I work as a consultant, and same as Gianna and Hélène. yes, NDC is a hot topic, of course. Nice to see Anne Cripps there. We used to work together. Hi. We were on the Lufthansa project together. Welcome. How nice. Yeah, I agree with what Gianna's been trying to do here. That I think it's a great opportunity to discuss different topics. I'm amazed at the sort of feedback that Hélène and I've been getting for our Clubhouse sessions. It's been a huge success, and obviously people are very interested and enjoy it. And I think that we can do this, and maybe, you know, invite a speaker, find some topics, discuss, because that is really what we need to move forward with. This group originally started as talking about the old boys network, which is very true. There is an old boys network. And, you know, there's no rocket science. You could just look at the people in the business and who knows who and where they get the next job, etc. So definitely believe in women trying to establish much more of that. But yes, I feel very strongly about that. We should be talking about some interesting topics that we should learn much more.
Thank you, Anne. And I also liked very much the suggestion from Sophie to make maybe a dedicated session on sustainability, which we can then maybe plan in one of the upcoming months. And then maybe Sophie, Sharina, as co-hosts, then maybe present this, but we can discuss later. I'm very glad that we have two freshers, as we call them, in working for an Indian companies. So new joiners with Anne and Hanne. So let's go by the alphabet. Anne, maybe you can tell us what did motivate you to join Ladies Beyond Flying, and what do you expect, and maybe which topics are also interesting for you. You are muted.
Okay, sorry. This is actually the second time that I am joining. Oh, sorry, was I not supposed to talk?
First was Hanne without H, Anne.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're new to this, so it's okay. It's not the easiest thing. Even after a year, we still make mistakes. I'm Anne Cripps. I work for a software house, and as Anne mentioned, we first met, I think it was back in 2014, working together for a number of months. And she very kindly sent me an invite about a year ago. I've been very remiss and haven't actually joined one of these sessions before now. But what did attract me this time was subject matter, plus I just happened to have an afternoon that wasn't stuffed full of meetings, because I am back to working full-time fairly quickly last year. We were back to full-time, so things are quite hectic, and I'm sort of wearing a couple of hats, one of which is, well, both of which involve NDC. So it's a topic which interests me greatly, and of course, the various problems that one meets with it day to day. So that would be my main topic of interest
though I'm interested in all sorts of other topics as well, such as pricing, dynamic pricing, and things like that also. I've worked in everything from actually coding systems for airline booking engines to my current position. So I've been business analyst, I've been a programmer, I've done most things except the user interface. I haven't yet worked on a user interface or used PHP.
Good to have you with us, and welcome to Ladies Beyond Flying.
Thank you.
So then let's go to Anne with an H, Han.
Thank you. So it's the second time that I'm joining. I'm working at Travix. We are an OTA, and I'm working in the industry relations team. I'm actually also very interested in NDC, as I'm also working with that more and more myself. And indeed, there are a lot of problems that you encounter. So it's always interesting to hear others' experiences and opinions. And other than that, I'm also interested in sustainability. So that's definitely also something that it's good to have a discussion on. I am not that old yet, so my career hasn't been that extensive. I've been working in the marketing team, and now I'm more involved in contracting, account management, and so on. Nice to meet you all.
The pleasure is on our side. So, Jana, you try to find out a little bit what could be the interest of the other members, and you made an experience. I think you created a survey in LinkedIn, and so what is the outcome of it? So, what do you think is maybe a good way forward, scheduling sessions in specific days and specific channels? Because we have Clubhouse, we have LinkedIn, we have WhatsApp. What is your sense of the current state of Ladies Beyond Flying?
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel. Before I go into that, I would like to ask you if you could change this Spock a little bit. Can you show the slide again, you know, with our topics, please? Because I believe that NDC-1 order itself, it is Anne and Helen, the Spock. What I am aiming to do is the NDC-1 order ecosystem. I don't know, and maybe you have a better wording or a better expression. What I mean is, I look at it from an overview with all the, how shall I say, departments and systems that are heavily impacted by NDC-1 order. This is my aim, because I am not a revenue management, I am not distribution or marketing. I come from finance and from management. So I would, how shall I say, take a hat that's not mine, saying that I am the Spock for NDC and 1 order. So if we could add another line, another topic where NDC-1 order would be Anne and Helen, because dynamic pricing is part of that.
Yeah, if I may, Gianna, I don't think that we were aiming at having you making us some, I would say, some teaching session on technical details on NDC-1 order. It was more like, yeah, all right, she's not the spokesperson, but she's the one who's gonna help us organizing, talking about the topic. Doesn't mean that you make all the content. Of course, we are with you, right? So, yeah. And Anne and Hannah just mentioned that they were very much interested into NDC because they live that as a part of their daily life, and so they will be like a spokeswoman on this topic too, because they have stuff to share with us, right? But it's very important that somebody takes the lead to make sure that everybody who wants to talk about a topic related to NDC has the opportunity to do that in order to grow the knowledge, the global knowledge of the group. So So yeah, so if you're okay to take this leadership, that would be great. And of course, the content we can provide, I mean, it's not an issue. Of course, you are not alone. That's why we are in a club.
No, I didn't mean it as being something, how shall I say, put on me. For example, Sophie and I are coming more from the finance side. So we have, I hope I say correctly, Sophie, a clear view what finance needs and other downstream processes needs and what we expect. But the dynamic pricing thing is very interesting for us because for me, as I said once, it should just work. And then I realized, oh gosh, they have so many problems. What?
Oh my gosh, you shouldn't have attended to our talks.
So
yeah, I have a feeling that we're going to end up, actually, we should do this in exactly the same way as we did with dynamic and continuous pricing, Hélène. When we talk NDC, we need to start with definitions and have a discussion around that. And I have a feeling that we're going to end up with 50 shades of NDC as well.
Oh, that I can bet on that one. Yes. I definitely can bet on that one. So it's really what is needed, and you're perfectly right. Is start by definition, and here we need like an organizer. You are not gonna answer this question alone. We are all gonna give you our and then. Yeah, that's going to be the 50 shade of whatever this time.
So, Daniel, it is not, dynamic pricing is really, really with Anne and Helen. It's NDC One Order ecosystem. And I have made one slide, which I had sent to you just for information. So I see myself having NDC and One Order ecosystem, the whole overview. Where does it impact? Why does it impact? What are the stakeholders and so on, while NDC One Order and then detailed discussions within that is with Anne and Helen. So coming back to the 3 poles. So actually I started in a discussion with Helen and Anne saying, I am not going to put a special effort and time into the subject unless I know people are interested or women are interested, this group. So I decided to make a poll. Then we continued discussion and we came up with 2 polls to say, okay, what are the other members interested in the group? And when I was writing the poll in LinkedIn, I realized, oh my goodness, I have only 30 digits to explain my option. I have a little bit of problem, so I made 3 polls out of it. So one poll is about what are you interested in as a member of the group? The second poll that I made was about this, or actually it was the first one, what is the reason that you're not attending? And so I don't mean you because you are attending, but we are 411 members, and in reality, we are the same 15 faces, whoever has time, but we are about 15 members really participating. And then the third was about this NDC One Order ecosystem that I wanted to know, is someone interested in this overview? If yes, I will put effort in it. If not, I just leave it die, because I do not want to spend my time and effort on something that nobody's interested in. So all in all, 15 members have even looked at the poll and responded in 3 days. And I do not believe that in the next 4 days, more will come. It was very interesting from Kolnas to hear that she is not aware when something is happening. So discussing with Daniel previously in German when we started this session today, it is not everybody will participate. Some will just be in the group. Okay. I do not have a problem with that at all. However, I'm a bit concerned about the members that would be interested to participate in whatever we offer and whatever they are interested in, but they are not aware. So how do we grab them? How can we do something that members of this group are aware and can decide to participate or not? That is the big question mark that I have at the moment.
And that is actually, Jana, where I think that we need these, we need some serious topics. We need some creative, great discussions that are going to attract people. Just like Ellen and I myself did with dynamic pricing, it seemed to be, there was a demand and people were really interested. And it's just grown and grown and grown, and I think that probably is the key to success. I can think of several other topics. We have a lady in the group who is a drone expert. That would be super interesting, really cool. To have, you know, that lady as a speaker for, let's say, you know, 20 minutes or so, and then have the opportunity to ask questions in this area. I myself can probably swing having my recent mentor, Sarah Seeger, do a session with us on imposter syndrome, which would also be really cool. She's an MIT professor. It would be another cool topic. But let's start with, you know, NDC and sustainability and see where we go. But I think that can really attract interest.
Yeah. I fully agree. Sorry, I fully agree. And the problem is, and that's the first step, that we have most probably many of these 411 members that even with very interesting topics, they are not aware of it.
In that case, it means, Jana, that they have subscribed to this club without really feeling involved. If they don't look at communication, if they don't answer, and there's not much that we can do, right? If we push as many communications as we want through this tunnel and don't get anything, I mean, that's their core. I mean, you cannot force people, can you? So yeah, I also wanted to add that it's exactly like the discussion we are having in Clubhouse is really, we start small, right? And the attendance is growing because people find it interesting, and then they probably there's like they tell some of the colleagues that they should attend or whatever. And also because we do some direct work in pinging people and telling them, hey, we are stars, please listen to us. And, well, you know, and so we can do this kind of stuff because we know some people. As far as the club is concerned, well, I don't know if you see any other channel of communication we could use to push people to attend if they don't read. For instance, the polls that you have made, Jana, if only 15 answered, well, how can you push? Yeah, maybe that's a question we should ask ourselves. How can you push people to answer those polls? What do you think?
Arnie, you raised your hand.
Yes, because I'm one of those people. I mean, I've got to admit it. I am one of those people you are trying to communicate with. You are trying to get interested. And the thing is that I have been very busy, especially the last 6 months, just keeping my head above the water, to be honest. So going on LinkedIn and answering things and polls and that, I have a meeting schedule that's wall to wall. It's luck that I ended up, the topic interested me, or the topics that were down for today interested me, and I happened to have a free slot. But another time, the topic might interest me, but I just can't get out of other commitments. I will answer your poll as soon as I can after this meeting. Apologies, I haven't done it before, but I don't go into LinkedIn. I rarely go into LinkedIn because I get all these invites, invite this person and that person. And to be honest, sometimes it's just a matter of, I'm busy, I'm doing other things, and I've never been one who's been into networking, and, my job's not relied on networking. I've never worked at a level where it has done in the past. But I have always worked at a level where it would be nice to gain information with people with more knowledge than I had. A lot of what I have done in my life has been learning by doing and just hacking about, trying to find information and searching for it on my own. And I have no problem. Again, I'm fairly long in the tooth now, so I don't have many years left before retirement. And it's a matter of, but I'm still learning stuff every day, which is why I'm in this conversation to communicate, discuss, with other people, with people who are more knowledgeable. I work in an area where we do the systems, but I'm not knowledgeable about a lot of the surrounding, the big picture of NDC. I know my little bit, because that's the bit that really concerns me. But what happens in the background has an impact on what I do. For example, the payment handling and 3DS, which I shall be attending a webinar about shortly, because that was a nightmare for us trying to work out what to do. So, but I'm one of these people that you're trying to talk to, and I have now been pulled in. But of course, I'm going to drop out of the conversation if I find I've got a lot of things on my plate, and I feel I could use my time in another manner, especially during my working day, which this is at this point. So, if I take an hour out, if I take an hour out now, I may have to compensate somewhere else for that.
But the probability might be now a little bit higher because you know a little bit how informal it is, what you said, that you like it. Now you know the people. So next time there's maybe something in LinkedIn, maybe the nudge is reaching you
exactly
more intense.
Yeah.
So now we have 3 raised hands. Wow, what a dynamic. I think Jana was first, then Charina, and then Christine third.
You're on mute.
Yes, yep. I clicked twice. So just to say, I'm Swiss German and I am very blunt. So instead of trying to be polite around, talking around, I say directly what I want to say. So I think that the Signal WhatsApp group would be an excellent way to just communicate the clubhouses, the webinars, whatever we have, because it is not something that you have to go on LinkedIn. I know that many people do not have time to go daily on LinkedIn. Many do not know that even if they go, they could quickly go into the group and only see what this group has as new. So I believe LinkedIn per se cannot be the way. Blunt. Now I'm blunt and I'm excusing myself. In the beginning, I was nearly dropping out of WhatsApp again because I do not see the point of having 75 members welcoming a new member in WhatsApp. I'm really sorry if one administrator is welcoming a new member. Sorry, that's enough. Please, it's enough. And also, sometimes it happens that we started in New Zealand, a person saying, "Good morning, ladies," and then Australia, "Good morning, ladies," and he went around the world and said, "For goodness sake, what is the value? You missed the real important things." But I know I'm old, And I know that the younger people maybe need it, or maybe it wasn't needed when we were in lockdown and shut down and whatever all over the world. But if we could try to get the interested people on the Signal and WhatsApp group and stop the nonsense messages, I think that would help. And stupidly enough, yesterday I posted something wrong into this group. It was meant for someone else, and I thought, not me. That I'm so against this bloody thing, and I posted a picture for my cousin into this group instead of her WhatsApp thing. I thought, no, that's not possible. But really blunt, if we could make this WhatsApp more professional, it would be, I think, the ideal thing to just say Clubhouse dynamic pricing, then and then. Aviation women panel, then and then. This is the link to the, then people would see it because it is pushed to you. Instead, you have to go into a LinkedIn.
I like very much what you're saying. On the other hand, just to try to find an explanation why we have so much enthusiasm in the WhatsApp group, because we had 4 major criteria to be part of this group: to be positive, smart, upbeat, and enthusiastic. So that's the amount of welcome is showing the enthusiasm of every member. Maybe I'm just speculating. Sharina, you also raised your hand, then Christine, and then Anne.
Thank you, Daniel. I just wanted to say, like, you have different forums and you're trying to connect to people, and people will pull or use whatever forum that is suitable for them. So for me, for example, I prefer LinkedIn, but I think I sometimes don't get the notification. I somehow was able to see Janice's notification only because I went into the group and then I saw them, then I answered all of them because I saw that the number of votes that were coming in were low. I thought, okay, I'll add mine at least and bump it up a bit. But WhatsApp, I was a bit hesitant, Daniel, when you invited me, because I was like, I don't want one more WhatsApp group, you know. But on the other hand, it is very useful when you feel like really motivated and have a good team camaraderie. It's quite nice to be able to do that as well. And it is also pushing information to you, and it's readily available. You don't have to go hunting for it in LinkedIn. So I think different people will have different preferences based on what is their personal preference. And you have set up all of this. People will pick up from wherever they are and then join in whichever medium that they prefer, and for whatever is their personal preference. And it's not possible, again, to have a particular time in the day or like evening or weekend, because again, people will have different preference. Some people like to do it on their working day, some people like to do it in the evening. So you cannot please everybody. So I guess if we have a mix of different options, like a weekend, an evening, or a working time, you might get different people. And again, you might get different people blocking their time if it is a specific topic. I, again, would like to be there if it's a specific topic rather than a generic discussion. I do like meeting people, don't get me wrong. I do appreciate that. But it is better to kind of have a focused discussion as well. And I met off the video, just from Daniel's introduction, I had met Alex and Marek separately. So we had a chat on our own, and because they are preparing for the podcast with Lex, so that was also quite interesting to connect with them offline as well, you know, one-on-one.
Thank you for the comment, Sharina. And I think that's exactly what this group requires, that there are also some small group discussions driving things forward, and that we are then in the larger group having maybe the result or some more creative ideas which can then progress things further. Christina, you raised your hand.
I did, and I'm glad that I got to listen to the other folks before me, because you're making me think. My computer, my personal computer, just randomly shuts down all the time, so I have to reopen WhatsApp every couple of days, and Jana, I liked what you posted by accident, so it made me smile. There is no accident. There are no accidents, right? It was meant to happen, so it happened. But I completely understand everything you're saying, and I'm experiencing a similar how do we pull people in quandary with another group that I'm part of, Privilege Against Racism, and we're actually having a leadership meeting tomorrow. Some folks have had to step back. The actually founder lost his job twice during the pandemic. His most recent job, he's working again, is incredibly time consuming, and he's got 2 small children, so he's stepping back. So, you know, we're down to a smaller team, and we had a Slack channel that we were using, which was one more thing for me to check. And people either forget to look or their notifications are off, or they have difficulty. There's so many reasons why they don't catch, even though the intention is I want to know what's going on, somehow we don't catch everything. I have been obviously managing a little bit more in my calendar, given the fact that I am working again. I put everything, every invite, whether I received an invite or not, I put it into my email calendar so I get notifications on my phone. I managed to somehow use my Google Calendar for the Clubhouse ones. At least I get the notification to pull me in. So what I'm saying is, even with the best intentions of wanting to be, you know, present, or at least be aware of, so we can join if we have time, or listen in while we're working, whatever it is, it's not always that easy to manage everything. So while I'm thinking in the WhatsApp channel group, I agree that it sounds like more people use that group. We have several different, I don't know what you call them, groups or subgroups. What if there was just one that was an event group? Where, and I'm looking at that screen now, where, well, actually we do have that. We have a VHH, we have a VHH Americas. So at least when you go in, you'll see if there's a new notification, oh, I will go in that one, because I'm assuming, unless it's by accident, we wouldn't have, you know, 50 good mornings or, you know, in the event group. So at least it would be more central. I'm a process person. I believe that there's a process for everything. And if it's not working, we keep, you know, whittling away until we get to that. So that's just an idea. And the Signal, for some reason, I can't log in. It keeps asking me to relink with my desktop, and I don't know, it's not working for me, and I've given up. But I personally check LinkedIn all the time, and in my notifications, I get there's a new notification in the LBS, so I go and look at them. But the problem with LinkedIn is that the algorithms are not always your friend. One, there's something called shadow banning, where they just decide to not show me content that I actually want to see with people I'm, you know, directly connected with. And also your notification for your groups, they came in different orders. You know, your first notification for your first poll came in third. It was very bizarre. So you can't trust another entity to curate your news for you. So, you know, let's try an event group in WhatsApp and see, because, you know, through the best of intentions, I don't even know when the last time we had a VHH Americas is, because I tried to use the link to go and check and it's not working for me. So, you know, we keep trying. We keep trying till we figure out something that works. And again, if people want to join, they will. But just to say that there are folks who probably would want to join, but they simply weren't aware. You know, and I think that's probably the case. Oh, but also one last thing, LinkedIn groups, notoriously high joining, low participation. It's the same with every group that I've been a part of, and I've heard it from so many other people. So we're not unique, unfortunately, in that. And that's all.
Thank you, Christine. I think that's a fantastic proposition with the event WhatsApp group, because it cannot be VHH, because if it's called VHH, Gianna will never join because she doesn't like VHH. So that's why we will call it event. But I think that's fantastic. So then Elaine and can post their Clubhouse sessions there. And then I think virtual happy hour sounds a little bit more loose and informal, and event with the topics that might maybe then ring the bell for the people who like to join. Sophie, you raised your hand.
Yeah. I agree. It is difficult to know what channel to use. Personally, I don't. I do look at LinkedIn every now and then, but I don't look at it every day. I don't have time. And I will look if I'm spurred by a notification. But if I'm not, then yeah. I like WhatsApp personally because it's push rather than pull. So I don't have to do anything. It's push to me. I like the idea of an event one. What I did want to say was I belong to another WhatsApp group. It's a French one for sustainability. It's called the Shifters. And they make separate groups on themes. So we could have a WhatsApp group for just events, and that would be perfect because then you see the event. There's no verbiage, there's nothing. Because one of the problems I find with WhatsApp is when you've got like 15 messages, you just scroll through them and you're not really looking at them and you don't really read them, and the information is lost. But what we could do is we could have and I don't know if people would be interested in this, and this is something we would need to discuss, but would there be an interest in having a WhatsApp dedicated, for instance, for NDC, and then people could post things that are relative to NDC, which we could read or not, depending on the time we have, and same for sustainability. And I know this sort of thing can get out of hand if people are too enthusiastic and post a lot, because then there's too much and you just can't look at it all. But would there be an interest, and would that help to have the several, I would say, different groups per theme? I do think that it would help. Yeah, I don't mind being the sort of the contact point for the theme, but definitely I was thinking of suggesting to Saturina that we should have a one-to-one discussion, and if anybody else is interested, then they can just lift a hand or send me an email or something, and we could have just a discussion, the two of us, because you seem to be very knowledgeable and to have some material which I don't actually have, and maybe we could sort something out and make a proposal through Clubhouse or whatever, to have a session. And I don't know, on Clubhouse, can you show slides, for instance? Because no. So maybe that's not the best place. I don't know, maybe it's...
Clubhouse is audio only, Sophie.
No. So that's why that would be my, first of all, I like your suggestion with the WhatsApp group. I would suggest to give it a try. So if suddenly we have a better structure to have a WhatsApp group on sustainability, another on events, and the third one on NDC, and then the fourth one on the podcast, maybe that's exactly channeling where everybody's interested. So if people are not joining NDC group, they are probably also not joining if there's a session on that one in Clubhouse or in Teams. And then I was just looking, one could be the next one. We have to decide whether we are taking the sustainability topic as main one, or we do it exactly 20 minutes to one, the other, but that's exactly what we can maybe decide post this event today, how we go it forward. But I will set up the WhatsApp groups, and then let's see what we all experience in the next months, how the communication is going. So I will also then write down the rules, so not 75 welcome and so on. So let's see how it works. No, but that's good. That's good. Jana, you have raised your hand again.
Yes. Actually, I think it's very good what you said, Sophie. I would like to start small first, because this event group would be the one where you have all the events. So maybe I am not in the sustainability group. Oh, sorry, I can't even spell it today. But if I see something in the events group, I think, oh, today I'm just joining as a listener and listen to it. I like the suggestion to have one group, or one WhatsApp group, where I see all the events we have, Clubhouse, webinars, Teams, just name it, and then the specific ones where there are discussions. I am a bit concerned that in the discussion groups of a specific topic, someone will lose when the event is. So I really like to start with the event group and then continue with the others, where we have only the interested people in, while in the event group, we should aim to try to get as much people in. Let's
I
say,
think also,
yep.
whatever the event, it should be posted on the event group. That I agree with.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe, I mean, I have invited to this group, I think, 50 plus people. I know the email addresses and the phone numbers, you know, so we could actually enhance the WhatsApp group event with more members. And then explain to them what this is for, and that it is, as you said, Daniel, it's not about, hi, hello, we have a sunny day in Zurich or wherever, or we have a lot of snow and whatever. So it's just to publish events.
I'm just going to pipe something in quickly because brainstorming, you made me think of it, Sophie. I've noticed with the moderators, I think that's what they're called in Clubhouse, the people running the groups or running a particular session, it's very obvious that in the background they have a chat going. So they may not be able to, in which maybe they're going to share slides and say, oh, let's talk about this next or what have you, but also they have something going back and forth. So you could, I don't know, because I don't know if everyone has everyone's cell numbers or whatever, but perhaps have, you know, separate channels for that so that you can control leading up to, during, just a way to communicate with the different mods that you've, you know, brought up on stage. Just another idea, because again, it is audio. Sorry?
How did you guess, Christine? Of course we are chatting.
Okay.
Behind.
Right. Well, some of them are very obviously not. Some of the groups, some of the clubs that I've attended, because they seem to be completely disconnected. But the ones who do have a synergy, like, you know, women, because we're so freaking smart, are doing that behind the scenes. Just because not everybody has had a chance to be a mod in Clubhouse, so it was just to share that little bit there. But of course you are, Elaine, because your group is, I got to tell you, I've attended 2 of the sessions and I'm looking forward to more. Trying to find ways to apply that knowledge into my new industry, because, you know, aviation's my love, but that's gone for now.
Yeah, it's very
Sarina, you raised your hand.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. I like the idea of the events group, so that, you know, there are less posts. Not that I mind per se the other posts, but then, yeah, if you keep it focused, then it's better. But I also want to say, like, if we want to share materials, probably best to share on LinkedIn, and people can go in whenever they're free and have a look. But if you just communicate to them that you'll have to go and look at it, because then it's there in one place. It's a controlled group. It's everything is available, so it's just a matter of going there. And I'm again not too sure whether I want to, you know, in WhatsApp it might get lost if there are so many posts. It might get lost and I might not be able to get to everything. So if there is something to share, probably LinkedIn is still better. That's my view.
Now we have Christine raised a hand. We have twice Jana in the view, and we have Elaine raised hand. So that's. Are you also seeing Jana twice?
Yes, I see Gianna
Good.
twice. If she tries,
good.
you can see her twice with an echo.
And I don't see mine raised at all, so I'm glad you saw it. Sharina, to piggyback onto what you just said, I am very happy to go and take what's in the WhatsApp event group and share it into the LinkedIn. You know, for those of us like me whose computer craps out all the time, and I'm in LinkedIn every day. It's my main news source. Whatever's happening in the world, whether there's been a tornado or you know, or another incident of police brutality, I'm going to be aware of it through that. So I'm more than happy to copy paste the information into the LBF group.
Elaine, and we are at the end of the session. So, Elaine, you are now.
Yeah, indeed. I was thinking of maybe having. Yeah, I like the event group idea, and I like the fact that I can receive some push on WhatsApp. Fair enough. Yeah, I also was listening to you, and I was thinking that probably the ideal situation would be to have like a calendar somewhere where we can have all the events, you know, of course, we have been advised by receiving a WhatsApp or whatever, something pushed to us, but somewhere where we can go, I don't know if it's feasible, but somewhere where we can go with a kind of summary of everything's happening with the links, because sometimes I'm just panicking at the last minute because I don't have the link anymore. Oh my gosh, where's the link? You know, that was the case, especially at the beginning when we were doing those conversations. Now it's getting better, but yeah, you know, a little bit like the calendar, the Google agenda that we have for us. We could have, like, I don't know, maybe a Google agenda that we could share. I don't know, Daniel, you know better on that topic.
I think that's a good suggestion that we need a CCO, a Chief Calendar Officer. I will figure out how we manage this. Yeah, that's something which might be also helpful, that people can plan ahead. On the other hand, of course, Clubhouse is pretty much ad hoc scheduled and so on. But let's see, we will find it out. Talking about calendar, I was looking ahead. When could be our next Aviation Women panel? And that would be exactly more than a year after our first one, because the first one was 8 July 2020. So it would be our anniversary then. I hope this date is working for everybody. Yeah, and it was, I think, a very constructive and also productive session, because I think we were discussing some of the pain spots about communication, how to channel the topics, and let's try it out, and then let's see whether we have a better efficiency and productivity, that everybody feels better managed also with the restricted time. So hopefully, Anne, next time you see something from Ladies Beyond Flying, you put a higher priority on it. And my goal is now that I can also convince Jana maybe to join one of the virtual happy hours, because there's also a lot to learn. No, we will. Let's make a bet on it, but let's see. And Sharina and Sophie, shall we plan for sustainability as the main topic for the next Aviation Women panel? Is this a good idea?
What date did you have in mind? Sorry.
28th of July. So you have a lot of time to do something.
Yeah, that could work for me and Sharina. Maybe we could sort of meet up virtually and have a short discussion sometime next week. I'll do.
And don't feel the pressure. We are all easy going and so on. And I think we are all in this together. We support each other. But if this is, because I think it's a very vocal topic, and then having this in our new calendar, maybe have some teaser sessions in Clubhouse where you can discuss things, and then the big presentation lively transmitted in CNN. What else? I think we have achieved a lot. So I thank you all for being very blunt. Thank you, Jana, Christine, Sophie, Sharina, Anne, and Elaine, and also to the earlier dropped Ladies Beyond Flying. It was a big pleasure to have you with us. I'm always inspired from you. I'm looking forward to the next sessions in Clubhouse, LinkedIn, and here in MS Teams. So please stay healthy and safe, and have a good rest of the day, please. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for organizing. Thank you.
Bye.